Welcome, everyone, to the Soul Tribe podcast. I'm Auntie Charmaine, where we value community, connection, devotion, herbalism, and all the other amazing things that brought our grandmothers together. We're keeping the traditions, and we are so excited to have you here with us.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Soul Tribe podcast. And we have the amazing Yaminah. How are you, sweetheart?
I am doing very well. How are you? And thank you for having me.
Oh, I am so glad. Listen, everybody, first of all, Yaminah has a wonderful co-host for their podcast called The Healing Corner. And they were so gracious to invite me to their podcast. And I knew when we had ours that we was gonna invite this sister over. Because baby, when I say she got the spirit, she got the spirit. So we're gonna talk about today, guys, the importance of choosing yourself over and over again, always showing up for you. So tell me, Yamana, why is this a topic so near and dear to your heart?
This topic is the most near and dear to my heart because it is literally what I have chosen to embody and to create my life coaching business around. Because there was a time in which I did not consider myself, take time for myself, choose myself first, second, or third. And it took a toll on me physically, on my mental health, spiritually, and in all the ways. Physically, I put on a lot of weight, a lot of things. And once that moment of turnaround where I was like, okay, I can't keep living like this happened, and I started choosing me first, everything changed. It feels like I'm aging in reverse, and I'm just enjoying life so much more. And so it's not negotiable at this point. I know what it can do for people, and so I want to show people the way.
One of the things that I can appreciate about choosing you first is that that is how life was intended initially. Because when we come into the world, even twins are not born together. There's something about understanding that you matter so much so that you're willing to pour into yourself. As a society, we clearly are seeing the breakdown in society, the breakdown in the family structure, the breakdown in professionalism, the breakdown in community, the breakdown. Clearly, this is a direct reflection of not putting oneself first. How do we start the process of unlearning? You understand the miseducation of Lauren Hill. How do we start unlearning the foolishness that we have taken on as a society and start really pouring into each other to put ourselves first?
I think that everything begins with self and being honest with yourself in the fact that it took a really long time to get to where you are. And so getting to the place of choosing yourself first and thinking beyond yourself and in deeper ways and questioning things is something that you're going to have to do one question at a time, one step at a time.
Amen.
So it's going to be okay, I used to do this one thing this particular way. What does it look like to consider doing it another way? Why do I do it this way? Where did
Mm.
that come from? Is that my truth? Is that somebody else's truth? And as you
Come
start
on
to
now.
slowly peel back the layers of the things that belong to you versus the things that were given to you versus the things that you may have inherited and you have no idea where they've come from, once you start to sort through that, then you have more clarity about who you are and what your values are and what you stand on. And from there, you just continue to build.
You hit something on the head that was spirit moves. You said, and it allows you to see who you really are and to stand on business. So basically, if I'm using your metrics, is it safe to say that somehow we've lost who we were? Because clearly,
Yes.
if we knew who we were, we would behave differently. So,
100%.
how do you start the process of connecting self to the true self, because that's what it is. Because I find that so many of my clients live their entire lives outside of themselves, clearly outside of themselves. So much so that government is in the brain, president is in the brain, this is in the brain. All of it matters so much, but right now, in these moments, your life is not affected by that. In this moment, I am in my space, you are in yours, and right now we are safe. Why do we take these outside noises and make them the loudest voices in our heads?
It's the brain and it's society, right? So society has set itself up in such a way to keep us distracted, to keep us on the hamster wheel, to keep us looking in every direction except for inside. And so we have to be intentional in making the choice of not engaging with everything that comes across what we see with these eyes that we have. And
Mm.
that looks like coming up off of social media. You might not delete the whole app and never have it, but you have to be cognizant of how much screen time that you're having with social media, with TV, with all the things. You have to be conscious about what you're putting inside of yourself. And so maybe instead of listening to music with lyrics that don't resonate with who you are, how about listening to a podcast that's going to feed you and to stretch your mind?
Come on now. You know, I see a lot of people complain about the very thing they allow themselves to be exposed to. So you hate the gossip, but you sit and listen. You hate the this and the that, but you go straight to it. How do you start changing into an acquired stage? Because you know what I'm saying? Kitchen table talk when I was in my 30s is not the same kitchen table talk in my 40s now. How do we start acquiring a different taste for life?
I think it's with the evolution of you. The more that you are willing to
Mm.
grow, the more the resources and the people and the places start to appear, because all this stuff is always around us at any given time.
Come
But
on.
if you're not
Oh,
attuned
yeah.
to it, you're not going to see it. You buy a car, you've never thought anything about this car. Now that you're driving it, there's 99 of them on the road every single day.
500 G's. 500 G's. When I had my
Yeah.
Pacifica, 500 Pacifica. That
Yep.
is what I'm saying. You are
Yep.
absolutely right. That is so funny. The funny thing about the way everything moves, it's like that saying, when the student is ready, the master will appear. I'm actually seeing that because there are so many people who are on the spiritual walk of life who are now understanding the importance of putting themselves first. I I think that my greatest awakening happened when I started that. Like it became easier for me to start putting myself first when I like woke up. So do you think that there's going to be an awakening that forces and compels people to wake up and start putting themselves first?
I think it's happening already. It started some time ago. Some of us have already been on the path. Other people are like, okay, wait a minute, I see something's happening. But it's having to happen because we're being shown that the systems that exist, the ways of going about life, we've been told how we're supposed to do a thing. And we did the things and we
Yeah.
followed the rules and it's still crumbling
Yep.
to shit. And
Come on now.
so,
The
are you
straight
gonna
true
keep on
shit.
doing it? Are you gonna keep doing it the way that you know it goes? Or are you gonna take a chance and do something different and crazy? You might actually end up liking yourself way more and enjoying life way more and not having to worry about how everybody else is doing and moving about because you got a piece on the inside that can't nobody shake.
Ooh, come on. Then that's for the people in the back of the church because that's what they need. They need that. They need that because it's true. How many of us remember when we was first growing up, the whole body yaddy thing, small waist, big hips, big breasts, big butts. Now everybody is realizing that is not the goal. And if I got to change myself to the point where all body parts got to be specified because of someone else's acceptance, how much more worth it? It can't be worth it. It
Mm-mm.
cannot be worth it. Not for the compliment. And for
Mm.
sure not for the Gucci bag. We'll alter the body. We'll alter who we are. And I think that's the thing too. Because over here, people fake and phony, and we glorify pretending.
Yeah.
How do we stop this pretending foolishness? Because that's a lot of the reason why people can't not feel comfortable putting themselves first because they're always trying to be what others want them to be.
Hmm. I think for me, what that has looked like is authenticity and accountability. I
Okay.
am myself wherever I am. Obviously, I like to use colorful language. If there's children afoot, I'll attune to that. Older folks, I attune to that. But I'm not going to
Yes.
not be me. I'm not going to pretend to have a different belief to make someone else feel comfortable. And
Period.
on the flip side of that, if anybody is going to maybe say something that I need clarity on because maybe I felt like you were trying to insinuate some shade or whatever the case may be. I'm not above saying, so what did you mean by that? Because it felt like
Right.
this, and I just want to make sure I'm not taking it the wrong way. So having
Mhm.
accountability both ways, being able to ask people questions and being willing to have that conversation and those questions come back at you so that you are upholding who you are authentically.
Mm. You know, I wonder where does putting yourself first go from being a blessing to being a curse? Because I do know people who put themselves first, but they do it in such a toxic manner where nobody else matters. Like they don't see, feel, sense, hear anything, anyone outside of themselves. When does that become so toxic? And how do we start taking these toxic as ways of being and turning it into something that makes sense?
I feel like when somebody is self-caring to the point to where there's nothing or no one outside of themselves, but they've lost the plot because outside of obviously taking care of your bare needs and making sure that you're rested and poured back into, there's a whole wide world
Yes,
going on outside of you, and
yes.
we need community and
Mm,
we need connection. And so to shut
yes.
yourself off completely is putting up a level of boundary in which you don't allow for reciprocity to even come your way. And so you're shutting
Mm,
yourself off when you're being that level of consumed in your self-care. And quite honestly, I know for me, when I have poured back into me in such a way, I then have
mhm.
extra, and then I want to pour that back to the people that are around me that I care about. And I want to see them
Yes,
be lifted up and feel better and have additional positive poured back towards their lives.
yes. When it comes to life, the change of life, meaning when you notice you started evolving, there was a moment when, at least with my awakening, when I was like, oh shit, the world felt like it was quaking under my feet. I didn't necessarily know what was going on exactly. The paradigm shifts in which I understood spirit had changed. I had clung on more to the principles that my grandmothers had taught me. And they did, by example, teach me how to put myself first by virtue of making sure that my needs were met. Have we lost that essence that the grandmothers tried to show us by leading by example? Have we lost the importance of the canasta games on Thursdays and the stopping at the house to say, hey, Auntie, what do I do? And all of these wonderful ways we used to socialize. Have we lost that as a society, which in turn forced us to see and put ourselves first in a more toxic way?
I think with the evolution of social media and just the way that we're sharing now, we, without thinking about it, allowed these platforms to create quote unquote community, which felt like a replacement of sorts. And then we got behind the computers and the phone screens and we were faux connected. And then we realized time is passing and we've not seen Hill in real life. And then we get back together and realize when we're awkward. So
Yep.
it happened, and I don't think that we necessarily meant for it to happen, but it happened by design. And now it's up to us to be conscious and cognizant about bringing it back. Because all this shit's gonna go away and fade and shift and flip upside down and remix 37 different times. Like, this is going to change. And so who are you actually connected to? Do you know their numbers? Are y'all actually like, do they know your medical history and these kinds of important things? Because, child, knowing just somebody has whatever going on Facebook is not going to hold you down in times when we are not behind these computers and these screens.
Let me tell you something, sweetheart. When I first met you, when you first came to our store, I knew you had a talent, a fire, and a gift. I knew that when I first met you. I also knew that you were a person who was going through the awakening process and rediscovering what lit your heart up with joy, what actually made you excited about life. I actually think that people are going to have to become far more simple. You know what I'm saying? Meaning a hike with you in at Blessed Old Creek, baby, it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. The connection, the community. How do you feel within the soul, within the body? To pick up the phone. Before we even started this interview, I literally looked at you and I said, you know, the reason why I invited you on my show, because I felt your spirit. Now you tell me when we still feeling spirit for others. You tell me when we think of a person and you see them and you say to yourself, yeah, Lord, okay, they got a testimony. The folks need to hear it. I need you to tell the folks the true testimony of what is in your belly right now about putting yourself first, that lit a fire under your soul that I saw on Instagram. And I was like, oh, yes. Oh, that's fresh. Oh, yes, we need to talk about that. That's what I want to talk. That real.
So that reel in particular was encouraged by my therapist. He told me that I am in the midst of something very challenging and that I want to be able to, one, demonstrate that I can walk through the hardship and get to the other side, but then also have the record for myself to be able to see my vulnerability and to see the progress from this moment. I recognize that for the last many months, I have not been okay. And I want it so badly to be okay. But no matter how much I continue to choose me and pour into me and rest more and meditate more and do all the things, it just was not giving a level of relief that I felt like I actually needed. And so in that conversation with my therapist, I actually went ahead and made the decision to seek out what it would look like to explore medication options. Because it's just, life has gotten to a point to where I started to feel similar, not thought processes, but I felt like I was starting to go in the direction of where those thoughts lead to, which are dark and
Wow.
they're who I used to be, and I don't I don't identify with that person anymore. I don't live in a way that feels like depressed and depleted and just woe is me. Like I don't do that. That's not who I am because I've made different choices in life. And I know the
Right.
tools that exist, but sometimes them tools can only get you so far and then you gotta go find some new damn tools. So
That's it.
here we
That's
are.
it. But you know, Yaminah, let me tell you something as you was talking. What if you are not that, but in that moment you were? And what if that's okay too?
Yeah.
What if in that moment you allowed yourself to connect with the experience, and that experience led to a depression, and that depression is totally acceptable as long as we don't stay there? How about that?
And that's
How
where
about
I
if that's
was.
okay?
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's where I was and that's where I
yes.
sat. And I also realized in entering into that phase that I am being forced to learn how to ask for help.
Ooh, because I was gonna say it, baby, but I didn't want to. Auntie didn't want to. I swear I didn't
No.
want to.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
Yamana, even when I first met you, I could tell you were super hyper independent. Super hyper. Like it ain't even super, it's the super hyper. You are super
Yeah.
hyper independent.
Yeah.
Favorite acidosis. That is you. That is you. You have a way of saying, I know I could do it. I know I could do it. And what you don't realize is spirit knows you can do it. The around you knows you can do it. So why aren't we doing it? You see where I'm coming from? Because here's the thing. The moment you see yourself defeated, you lost.
Yeah.
You lost. And the moment you try to live this life without a supreme being, you lost. Because how can you disconnect yourself from where you came?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's like a child who actually think that they are better than their parents. You will never be better than the origin from which you came.
Mhm.
What you can do is take it and evolve it, but it ain't going to be better living your life, being in a place in a space where we're acceptant of one another, understanding that changes happen and the evolution of a family bloodline happens. How do we then take the environment of going from feeling like you're better than where you came from to taking it to a place where it's healthily evolving, an evolution, so to speak? How do we take societal changes and thoughts that way? Because I feel like it's going to have to happen out of necessity.
Mhm. Well, I think that more so than anything, we have to keep in mind that everybody is doing the best that they can with the resources that they have,
Yes.
and everybody is
Mm-hmm.
operating to get their own needs met, whatever that may be. And so we choose to take things personally, but most of the time people are moving around this world and they're doing things that ain't got nothing to directly do with you. You just happen to be the person that's right there in the line of vision.
Yep.
And so
Mm-hmm.
not focusing on, well, they did it this way and I'm going to do it that way, so that makes them me better than them, and instead saying, okay, well, this is how they did it for whatever the circumstances were. These are the current circumstances. How can I adjust this so that I'm doing things in a way that makes sense for my current lifestyle, my current circumstances? It's not about doing
Mm-hmm.
better than, being more so than about evolving the way that you've gone about doing what somebody else used to do. They made the wheel. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You just put it on a better set of whatever the things are that connect the wheels, because I'm not a mechanic.
Oh, God, that is so cute. No, because you know what? Here's the funny thing. I actually think that more and more people are going to connect to themselves by out of putting themselves first, but they're going to go smack dab into their purpose. I actually feel that. I feel like so many people here soon, let's say moments from now, I feel like out of necessity, people are going to have to shut the noise off because it's going to get too loud. And I feel like people are going to go more inward and they're going to hit smack dab into their purpose, creativity, and they're going to want to share it. That's going to build community. Next thing you know, you've created a whole totally different society. I actually think that's happening. What you think?
I would agree with that. And I think that it's already evident that it's happening. It's just not had to happen by necessity yet. Because take, for instance, my mermaid community. I didn't know this was a community I even needed. And then watching Rich People came across the fact that the Afro Mermaid Summit existed and was like, oh, wait a minute. Black and brown people gathered together and went on mermaid tails and swim on purpose and just gather for the sake of fun near water.
Yeah.
I need to go see what this is like. And I have not now gone 2 years in a row. And when I went this year, it was just same amount of love as last year. And everybody shows up, they're themselves. So nobody's trying to force anything on anybody else. We're just there to have a good time with each other. And that's what community is about. And pockets of community like that are going to pop up more and more, especially as resources possibly become limited or however systems start to change. We're going to have to evolve to that. And then we're going to have to pull resources together because we can't do this shit alone.
Please don't misunderstand putting yourself first as a means of bringing harm to others, disregarding others. Because if you putting yourself first requires toxicity, that's not putting yourself first. I need you to understand. If I got to bring harm to another in order for me to be okay, that is not putting me first. That is literally distorting the energy. Yaminah, we need to make it clear for the folks, okay? Because I need that understood. Because something touched me too much to say, no, y'all need to explain. Like, what does that mean? Because people are already self-centered. People are already self-serving. So we need to understand, what does putting yourself first mean? It doesn't mean sacrifice. That is not what this is. What it means is, as you're good to others, you recognize the good in yourself. You recognize the importance that your feet are the first pair of feet to hit the floor in the morning and the last pair of feet to go to bed at night. You buy your shoes first. That's what that means. So how do we encourage the people in that kind of thinking?
It's like they say when you're on the airplane, you put your mask on first, but everybody still need to be breathing. So once you're cared for, you can make sure everybody around you is good. And in real time, I know for me, it's most recently has me having to be honest with myself. Can I still go to this event that I committed to, or do I just need to lay down and take a nap? My body is tired. I just need to take a nap. That is caring for you, because pushing yourself to the max and then being tired and driving is risky to the community around you. These are ways that you care for you, and it pours back into taking care of the people around you.
Learned behavior, because we learned that from society, to kill yourself, to work yourself into the daggone ground, to have 3 and 4 jobs just to make it. And then we reward people for overexertion. We do. Let's just keep it a bean. How many people get rewarded for oh yeah, girl, I worked myself to the bone. I had 3 jobs. So okay, so you took the hard way home. You took the long way home. And now you want a gold medal because you took a long way home. And I decided to take my time, because slow and steady wins the race. And now you feel like you need a ticker tape parade. You need a ticker tape parade. You need a ticker tape parade. So now how do we teach our next generation of men and women the importance of, no, you don't gotta kill yourself. How about doing it different? How about loving yourself to such a degree that your needs do come first? How about encouraging us to see ourselves as other countries see themselves? They stop their whole work day in the middle of the day.
Maybe to take
Well,
a
to
nap.
lie. Can somebody country make me take a nap between 12 and 2 every day and I still can get paid, please?
I'm gonna have to go.
Well, why we don't have hot 80?
That's the life.
Or is that just the American way?
It is. It is. The way that I have imparted this lifestyle choice onto people around me and the younger folks and the older folks, because everybody can get it. Any direction we going in is giving people the permission. Because like I have one friend in particular, we're at a function and it's like you're pushing through trying to stay up late. Child, if you're tired, go home. And this friend now is like, years later, is like, thank you for telling me years later, is saying, thank you for saying I can go home. Because you know what? I'm tired. I'm leaving. We don't talk about it. It's Irish goodbye. They out of here. And it's crazy because I was the same person. I did the same thing. I'm sitting here at the function on the couch, sleep, because I don't want to miss something. I guess I'm like an adult baby trying to stay in the mix. And I had a friend and she was like, friend, go to bed. And ever since then, I ain't did it. And so these kinds of conversations, this is real life, y'all. We do not have to push ourselves to the max. And then like I know I went to lunch with my niece not long ago, and she talked about how she enjoyed resting and not having to go out and be in the midst of a thing. And I said, revel in that, enjoy that, because rest is everything. And when you get older and you start feeling like you can't rest, I need you to remind yourself right here, right now, what this feels like, because this can be the way that you choose to live your life. Just keep this. Please keep this.
Yeah. And why can't she? Why can't she? Who told her she couldn't? You see what I'm saying?
She
You should
can.
think about it like
She
this. If
can.
every generation is not evolving and if every generation is not moving forward, there is a fundamental problem. I should not have to work as hard as my great grandmother from 1909. I should not have to because she laid the foundation for me not to. So if I'm having to work as hard as she worked, as long as she did, I am doing something fundamentally backwards.
Correct.
How do we see ourselves beyond the now? You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of the problem in our manifestation is that we're not willing to believe in God for something greater than ourselves. We're not willing to believe because in our head, either we feel like we don't deserve it or we feel like it's an impossible tall order that seems like it can never be filled. How do we start seeing that we are able to have this glorious life? I hate to even bring that man name up, but the golden age. I actually feel like that golden age is here. He know it. We know it. It's just a matter of how is it going to be displayed? How do we start manifesting that golden age individually? Not based on society, but individually.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that I have like taken in information wise I've received in the last, I want to say it was in the last year, maybe two, because time is kind of weird. But I heard someone say that a pastor shared that their time here, by the time they die, they want to leave empty, where they have given all of the things that they've learned, that they've up leveled, all the things, give it to the people around them. And so
Wow.
I took that a bit, and with my client shared, I told her, I was like, you are an ancestor. You're becoming an ancestor for whoever comes after you. So I think if we can see us living in such a way to lay a path so that the children and the grandchildren and the nieces and the nephews around us can have it easier by us living it now. If we start doing that on their behalf, I think that helps to pave the way. Because the thing is it's one thing to think about you right now. It's another thing to think about what's going to be here after you're gone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. You know, one of the things that actually put me in a position to start manifesting in a real way, and you know what I'm getting ready to say. When we was coming up, two shows, especially growing up in Brooklyn, that we watched every single week. The Cosby Show and A Different World. And baby, when I say that different world, that Whitley Gilbert and the Dwayne Wayne, tell me you can't manifest. Sometimes you've got to see it demonstrated, even if it's not coming out of your own home. If you know it exists somewhere, You have the opportunity to at least envision it your way for yourself. So when we talk about manifesting, we see it as just the thought of something, or the desire of something, or the need of something. But what if manifestation was more than just the need, the desire, but you got to be emotionally connected to that thing in order for it to happen? How do we become emotionally invested in us coming first, putting value back in us, and making sure we understand the importance of how that should manifest in our lives so we're not manifesting someone else's dream?
I think it's gonna come down to people being honest with themselves and what they want their lives to look like. And in order to have
Mm.
a certain level of a life, you have to become a certain kind of a person. And so if
Come on.
you want a life where there's a certain level of wealth and a certain level of material or whatever, that's going to require a certain level of discipline and routine and meeting with different people and having a team and the different moving pieces versus somebody who wants
Mm.
to live on a homestead and wants to garden and chickens and all the things and have a simpler life.
Mm.
So, who are
Mm.
you wanting to become, and what kind of things does that person do in their life in order to get there? And reverse engineer
Wow.
that.
And maybe that's the thing. Maybe in order to have, you have to have that be, do, have. You know what I'm saying? You have to have that be, that doing, and then obtaining. So
Yeah.
if that is the case, and it's the be, do, have, what are we being as a person, the individual, as a collective, that we are now doing, and it is now reaping the harvest and causing us, requiring us to level up? Because I see it in society. I see the way people interact with each other. I see the short temperaments that people have. No one knows how to slow down anymore and say good morning or grand rising. You know what I'm saying? That's even like how we talk and communicate with each other. It's just straight, quick, and to the point. No love, no affection, no hi, no niceties, and no nothing. And then we wonder why we're in an environment where we don't have the niceties, where we don't have the conversation. So are we pouring into an empty cup, or is it that we had a full cup and we wasted what was in it?
Mm. Could be a bit of both. Could be a bit of both. And the balance
Hmm.
of it looks like you got to put into the world what you want to see back. You can't be raggedy and want not raggedy around you. You can't be raggedy and
You
expect
can't
raggedy
be
not to be around you.
Yaminah. You are so funny because it's true.
I
It is
mean that
so
though, like for
true.
real. People be out here raggedy, not good friends, don't follow up, don't communicate.
Mm.
And then they're like, I don't understand why people around me act like this. That's how you are. Why would you get way better than that when you're not giving that to anybody else? You can't do
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly what I feel sometimes. We are so caught up in what we feel we want for ourselves that we forgot the importance of being that to others first. First. What are some 10 things that you would tell a young person who comes to you as a client and they say, now, Miss Yaminah, listen, I went through X, Y, and Z, boyfriend broke up, can't find a job, struggling with this, that, and third, and I need your guidance. What are those 10 things Yaminah would tell her young folks to get to a place of healthy putting you first?
10 things. Hmm. This is interesting. Let's see here. Boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries are important. Got to have boundaries for you, for yourself, for how you deal with other people. Um, Inner child work. You got to have a
Yes.
relationship with you and all the little versions of you that exist, because they are the ones that have to feel safe and seen and heard in order for the rest of your adultness to not like freak out and have a whole meltdown. Okay. Um, Stillness, rest.
Mm.
Like, it's essential. It's not negotiable. It's not something that you have to earn. It just is. It's got to be. Um, Joy. Got to do
Come on now.
things that bring joy into your life, big or small,
Yes.
because the joy matters. The joy is the rebellion to all of the chaos that's outside.
Close.
Let's see here. Hmm. Pay yourself first, even if you're not in the midst of it.
Yes.
Getting in the habit of setting something aside for you, because you set things aside for and send things and delegate things to people for clothes and food and all other kinds of things that
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't necessarily need. So set something aside for you.
Mm-hmm.
How many is that? 5? Are we
Mm-hmm.
counting? Okay.
Yeah, we had 5.
I would say nature needs to be a part of a thing,
Yes.
whether you take it in on a hike or around water. It doesn't matter how you do outside, just do it to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I'd say creativity, just for the hell of it.
Mm.
No anything tied to it, just doing it because it makes you feel good. We get so
Yes.
wrapped up in making things have to be worth something or valued or tied to something, and we're enough just as we are. And so
Yeah.
doing a thing just because can help pour back into that.
Mm.
Hydration.
Come on now.
We need water, and we need more water than we give ourselves. Hydrate, hydrate,
Come on now.
hydrate, and then hydrate some more.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Physical activity. It don't matter how you,
Yeah.
but physical
Yeah.
activity and mixing it up. So yes, strength training, but also cardio and also stretching, because flexibility and core and all the whole body.
Yep.
You got to do the maintenance.
Yep.
So the whole body the same way you do it for your cars and your everything else that you take care of.
Yes.
Love deeply,
Mm.
even if it scares you, because
Mm.
you learn things about you that you could never learn about
Wow.
you if you don't allow yourself to be that level of vulnerable. And I think vulnerability might be the last one. Is that 10?
It is. It
Vulnerability.
is. And it
Be
was
vulnerable. Be vulnerable,
Mm.
because
Mm.
you can't be authentically you if you're not vulnerable. And people can't hold you in a real way if you're reserved and have all these walls up. So allow people to
Yes.
hold you and hold space for you.
Wow. You know what? That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. And when you can't make something more perfect, why try? Thank you all for joining us today. Yaminah, when people want to reach out to you because they want to know those 10 ways of putting yourself first live and in surround sound and in person, when they resonate with you, tell them how can they get to you.
You can go to healingiswork.com, and everything that I do is there. You could also go to Coach Yams, YAMZ.com.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm so excited to see you here and join us next time for another amazing Soul Tribe podcast. We'll see you soon. Peace and love, y'all.
I'm Auntie Charmaine, and I am a constant reminder to our tribe to connect mind, body, and soul as we talk everything spirituality, everything herbalism, and all amazing things in between. I am the auntie of the community. Peace and love, y'all. This is Soul Tribe Media, where your spiritual journey comes alive. A media movement rooted in empowerment, enlightenment, and elevation. Join me for a day in the life with Auntie as I bring you along on these sacred journeys and gaining everyday wisdom. Read our latest publication at OK Universe I Hear You as we keep it real, tell the truth, and go through our healing with real talk. Listen in on the latest Soul Tribe podcast episode as we give voice to spiritual growth and divine timing. Read the latest publication of BNP Chronicles as we talk all things astrology, numerology, holistic wellness, and mindful practices. Come and sit with us as we have Sunday morning messages with Auntie, as we talk enlightenment, one auntie to one niece or nephew. Join us for our TikTok live show with me, Auntie Charmaine, as we build that sacred community in motion, one amazing conversation at a time. Let me explain something to you, sweetheart. You have entered an amazing space that is going to keep you full and get you the enlightenment that you're seeking. Welcome to Soul Tribe Media.